Hello friends and enemies, welcome back to Happy For Now. It's me Isabel here with an exciting update, the mid-year check-in for this. How much have I spent this year? Read what you own. How much have I saved from the library? All those things right here, this video, today. I am outing myself and my bad spending habits. It's fine. As a caveat, before we dive into this video, just know my life circumstances are very different than yours. You know, we don't have kids. We don't have a ton of bills necessarily. And I do make a little bit of money from YouTube that does help cover some of these costs. Not all of them, but some of them. So keep that in mind, okay? Well, Millie is walking around and sneezing, so I apologize, and sniffing. But we're just gonna keep rolling with it. So if the mic picks it up, that's that noise. So just keep that in mind. My life circumstances to yours are gonna be very different. You know, I do live in a state with a lower cost of living. There's just a lot plays into this, you know? Like, so keep that in mind, because I feel like I've spent a lot on books, although I know, like, probably in the grand scheme of things, not as much as a lot of other people spend in a year. I don't know. I'm moderately okay with what I've spent so far this year. We'll say that. Before I dive into the library spending / savings, we'll call it. It's not really spending. Everything comes from my spreadsheet from Allie at Hardback Hoarder. I have modified some things and made charts off of things that she didn't have charts for, but either way, the bones of this is all in there. So it's pretty easy to set up. But let's talk about the library. So this is all of my library data. So far this year, I've checked out 40 books total from all of my libraries. You will see the breakdown here for each library, how many books I've checked out and how much money each one saved me, which is really nice. I do need to highlight what ones I pay for and what ones are like friends, so I'm less concerned about how many I've gotten, but I have read 35 of those 40 titles. So I did add a couple of these in here that I ended up not getting to in time before they went back. But that does amount to 88% read of what I've checked out, and that is going to be 100 by the end of the year, because I should be going back and finishing some of the things I checked out, like rechecking them out. But the amount saved is $538.15. So that alone, like, without breaking it down by library, is so worth it to make sure you're using your public library systems if you live in the States. But on that note, I think that it's pretty quick to see that my Ohio public library has almost paid for itself, and I've not had it very long. That is through the Stark library system. Orange County is a little further off from paying for itself because that one was like 120 bucks, I think. And then my Vegas one, which I took away, did great for the 3 books I managed to read on it. And then Charlotte is usually $50 a year, and I've already exceeded that for my savings. So, you know, I do think my paid cards are worth it, and I'm seeing definitely good returns on how much I read. Read What You Own kind of had me using my library less than I normally do. So I would like to, in the last half of the year, utilize it a little more and be a little better about it. I definitely use Hoopla a lot, though. That is very apparent here in this chart. But I'd also like to use my Hoopla more. So I'm hoping to see an uptick in this number by the end of the year, because I'm shifting some things. But that's my library savings. I'm very happy with this. I would love to know if you have a favorite library you're a member of in the comments, or if you track how much you save from your library, because I just think it's a really interesting number to see. All right, next we're going to talk about how much I've spent on books. I have a lot of charts and graphs for this for y'all, like a lot. So far this year, I've spent $1,576.88 on books. I've read 29% of those books that I bought, which is a total of 231 titles. Now, the fun part here is if you look at how much I've saved on books this year is more than I've spent. So that is cool. This is also greatly helped by the fact that I do track in my bought and sold my Libro FM audio listening copies that I get, because, and ARCs and any of that. And anything I get gifted, it counts, and I don't put in a cost. It's like 0, right? So, like, gifted from people or publishers. And because of that, it drives this number up for sure, because I do get up to 10 audio ARCs a month from Libro FM, which is like fantastic. I'm obsessed with their program. It's one of my favorite things ever. But I think it's really interesting if we come down here and look at the formats that I bought. You can see that obviously majority of my purchases have been manga or manhwas. Novels and novellas are all digital. So both of those trackers are digital. I specifically track my physical books separately because I want to make sure that I'm checking them off basically as read, because generally speaking, unless it's sent to me by a publisher, which I've been accepting a little bit more physical ARCs from this year, I should be buying it only if I've read it and loved it, not because I think I'm gonna like it. None of that. Like, I only buy if I've read it and loved it. No, just picking up on a whim, because I don't pick these up to read really. So there's no point in me physically purchasing a book to read it, because I'm not going to read it if it's not manga, manhwa, or a graphic novel, or a comic. So I did break those all out. And then I also broke out my digital manga and manhwa purchases, as well as my audiobooks. So this kind of gives you a full breakdown of where I'm buying the most. I'm not surprised that manga is my heaviest category. I tend to go on a pre-order spree when it comes to manga and Barnes & Noble doing promotions, or every time they do the like triple points thing, I'm always tempted to go spend some money. Like, I just can't help it. It's very tempting. But here's the pie chart of all of the formats as well, if you're curious about that, to see it more in percentages. Again, you're going to notice manga is almost half the chart. Audiobook is a close second, but I have bought a lot of novels and novellas this year too, so that's really nice to see myself slowing down on audios, because I did notice when I was doing Read What You Own, I have an excess of audios that I have not listened to yet. And then we also have the data on where have I been purchasing things. So here's the pie chart for that. And I'm actually really happy to see that Amazon isn't half the chart. Listen, as an e-reader, as a Kindle user, I think it's so easy for Amazon to dominate where you purchase your books. And I've been trying really hard this year to be sure I'm picking up things from indie bookstores and other places, you know, using Libro FM to get audiobooks occasionally when I want something, getting their credits instead. Like, it's been very helpful. So I'm happy to see this. You know, I'm happy that same thing, Libro is overtaken Audible. But yeah, it's just nice to know that I'm doing a little better. Just a little better, and that's all that matters. I haven't really done an unhaul yet this year either, or tried to sell anything on Pango or anywhere. So when I do that, it'll be interesting at the end of the year, I think, to see some of that data in there, because I will be able to add in like some of the things I sold that I'd bought, because I do have some stuff I want to like rehome. But yeah, I'm just really curious. I definitely noticed a trend here, and it's led to some learnings, especially when it comes to what we're going to talk about next, which is Read What You Own. So here is the chart. It's going to cover my face for a minute here. Okay, first things with Read What You Own. I changed how I'm tracking because the separate spreadsheet was not working for me. I kept forgetting to update it. I decided to rehome it inside of my 2023 reading spreadsheet. And this is what it looks like. I basically check it if I DNF it, if I've read it, or if it's a new purchase. That's what the $ is. And $ doesn't necessarily mean purchase. It means it's a new book to the system, like to my library in some capacity. I made a chart to document the start numbers for my Read What You Own that I do have. I don't have all of them because I decided that tracking just like ebook, like just my Kindle, just this or that, was not working for me as like a merged number. I needed it broken down a little more to see the progress, because it doesn't feel like progress when I read 2 arcs and my ebook number goes down by 2, but it does feel like progress when I see my NetGalley going down. I hope that makes sense. So I've broken it down to Kindle, NetGalley, Edelweiss, which is another ARC site, Libro FM, Audible, manga, digital manga, and physical books. Let's go through the numbers. So Kindle is 815 books. I specifically used on the Kindle app, if you go to sort by books, it will sort just books, like just books. Here's a screenshot of what I'm talking about. So I'm only taking that book's number now because I don't want every single e-arc I get to count against my progress on my unread Kindle titles. And I just think this, like, and then I feel like it gives me little wins occasionally versus tracking everything as a full number, which is like over 1,000. Then I have my NetGalley, which I'm at 88 books this year. I have 22 on Edelweiss, which is not terrible. And then Libro FM, I started this month at 111. I'm already down 1 to 110, but either way. And then we have Audible, where I have 135 titles. My manga collection, according to my Libib, where I track all of my manga, I scan them in as I get them, I have 194 unread volumes, which seems about right, but I could be wrong. I'm not sure. I'm definitely not counting. That's all I got for you. I'm not going to count them right now, so we're going to roll with that number for now. Manga digital, I have 43, and I'm tracking this specifically not by the graphic that I showed earlier, but by my collection on my Kindle that holds all my unread manga. I think with comics I'm at like 21-ish, but again, I don't want to track exactly that. I just kind of want to, comics can just be, because I'm not counting them right now. I might next year. And then physical, which is 60. I'm also using my Libib tracker for this, and I'm not positive how accurate it is. So I may at some point recount my books, but I also just like, I don't want to. Honestly, I just don't want to. So I don't know, I may not. But I am not mad at 60. Before it was 162. Tentatively, potentially. I still don't think that number's right, because I know there are books on this shelf that I counted that I don't actually want to read. So yeah, I may recount that, and you'll get an updated number if I do in a reset. But for now, we're just gonna let it be at 60, because I don't have the energy. I'm not gonna lie. I just don't have the energy. But yeah, so I've basically modified this to make it easier for me to update and easier for me to share with you my numbers each month. Like, I have a little tracker to the side with each month, and it says what I've read that month, purchased, DNF, and new, and it'll give me the net value of it. So I am up 1 title this month, basically, right now. So I've read 1, and I picked up 2 new titles in July. So my goal by tracking it by month like this is also so I can try and break even more months. And I think it would be really, really nice to actually like be at 0 or obviously a positive number. So we'll see. Let's just talk about real quick the learnings and things I've figured out from doing Read What You Own the last 6.5 months, we'll call it. It's been a lot. I think it's been a really fun process. I think it's teaching me a lot about myself. One of those things I've learned is that I'm not good at a no-buy. I'm not good at restricting myself fully. I tend to go a little more wild when I try to fully lock it down. So in response to that, I do kind of have a strategy for my manga purchases at the very least. Books are going to be a little weird because like I'm attending a book convention in August, not September, and that means I'm going to be picking up things, and that's fine. I'm picking up mostly stuff I've read though. One of the things that I'm realizing is I need to have a better system for my manga so that I'm not picking up tons of new volumes for a series I'm not caught up on, which means that I want to, 1, utilize my Viz apps more since we now have the 2 apps with lots of titles in them. I would like to read more in there before I add to my shelf if it's a title available. I also am not pre-ordering anything else for the rest of 2023. As far as manga goes, I am going to allow myself to pick some stuff up as things come out. I may pre-order Steamship titles. That may be the one thing I pre-order because those are expensive. And then the other thing is I'm going to give myself like a budget for when there are sales. So when Barnes does their triple point sale, since they have the point system now, I'm going to be able to spend like $100. Pick up some of the series I'm caught up on and need new volumes for. When Books A Million does their buy 2 get 1 sale or buy 3 get whatever sale they do, I'm going to allow myself again to spend about $100. I think that's a good way for me to contain it. That's quite a few volumes of manga really at the end of the day. And I would be able to then like stock back up on the things I've read and caught up on, because I have a bunch of series sitting over here that are like completed and I'm not done with them yet. So like I just need to get there. The other thing that I have figured out is just that I kind of occasionally want to go browse the bookstore. So when I want to do that, I think I'm going to let myself get like 2 volumes versus getting nothing. If there's nothing I want, I'll get nothing. But like I'm really trying to limit that, and I would like to, like I said, read what I have and then pick up new volumes after I've caught up on the series, because I gotta get this under control. I don't want to have like just a bookshelf of all unread manga personally. For me, though I like collecting manga, I also really enjoy like reading it as well. Like I'm not just one or the other, I'm both. I like to collect and read it, so I just have to find a way to like reel it in a little for the rest of the year. But yeah, that is my current plan for Read What You Own. I don't really see myself buying a ton of new books. I mean, I have 1 book series I want to buy before the end of the year, so I'll probably do that. But like, I'm really going to be trying to limit my purchases for the rest of the year. I don't foresee myself like spending gobs of money on books in the last half of the year, so I would like to see my numbers not go up a boatload. I'm thinking max like another $500 on books this year, outside of Steamulet. I don't know my Steamulet total because I've pre-ordered a bunch and I've forgotten what I pre-ordered, but I would like to see those numbers go up some, but not extensively. I definitely don't want to be over 2,500 for this last year. In 2024, I'm really excited to implement some new systems for how I purchase things and my tracking, because I feel like I've started to learn more about what I buy and when I buy. So yeah, that'll be good. But let me know in the comments how your year's spending has going, if you've saved a bunch of money from your library, how you budget for books and all that fun stuff. And if you don't want to do that, leave me a money related emoji or a book stack in the comments, and I will be back to talk to y'all in just a few days. Bye.
Come with me, I'm not really asking. We'll get away to a place where we don't know. About to see the world in action, what we can be, life with no distractions. We'll get away, this is what we waited for.